Welcome to Fighting Stats, the ultimate channel for UFC fans who love statistics and betting breakdowns. I'm your host, Art C, and today I'll be getting you ready for the upcoming UFC fight. Here at FightingStats.com, we have exclusive UFC stats not available anywhere else. We can tell you how often a fighter throws that left hook or that right jab in southpaw, how often they move backwards, or how often they throw kicks. We have all of that information, but that is not all. In this series, I'll be watching tape and I'll give you my real-time analysis on how the fight's going to go. I'm going to watch for fighter strengths, weaknesses, tendencies, and overall strategies to give you my prediction on how I think the fight is going to go and ultimately who's going to win. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome to Fighting Stats. Welcome back to Fighting Stats. I'm your host, Art C, and today we are breaking down the UFC 306 Noche co-main event between champion Alexa Grasso and Valentina Shevchenko. This is the third fight in their trilogy here. Alexa Grasso winning the first fight by rear naked choke in the first round after losing on the scorecards going into the fourth round there. And then that second fight going to a draw. Valentina Shevchenko actually up on the scorecards 3-1. Shevchenko or Grasso earning a 10-8 round in that fifth round to get it to a draw there. So this is a third repeat there. We watched those first two fights. I'll get you my predictions on the fight in terms of how I think the fight's going to go. But first, I'm going to jump into the Fighting Stats detailed striking reports and grappling reports. Get you my prediction on in terms of what the stats say. I'll break down the fight in terms of what I saw on tape, and then I'll give you my best bets, my numbers in terms of where I think the prop lines should go. So without further ado, let's get started here. I put Alexa Grasso here on the blue side. On the left side, Valentina Shevchenko is going to be on the right side. So Alexa Grasso 8-3-1 in the UFC. 25% of her wins coming from submission. Most of her wins, 75% coming from decision though. 3 losses there. 33% by submission, 33 by decision there. The draws messing up some of the numbers there. Same thing with Shevchenko. 12-3-1 in the UFC. 33% by KO, 17% by submission, and 50% of her wins coming from decision. Did not get knocked out 33% by submission. That was to Grasso, and 67% of her losses coming from decision. All right, so we're going to start on the Alexa Grasso offensive striking side. She's going to be a distance striker. 80% of her strikes going to be landed at a distance, 17% in the clinch, and only 3% on the ground. In terms of a target breakdown, she does go to the head at 77% of the time, goes to the body at 12% of the time, and legs at 11% of the time. Striking accuracy, not bad at 35% head strike accuracy, 69% body strike accuracy, and 72% leg accuracy. In terms of output by round, pretty consistent as the rounds go on. You can see here she throws about 55, 51, 54, 46, and 59 strikes, all pretty average there, and then lands about 23, 23, 24, 19, and 23. So low 20s in terms of strikes landed there per round. Does have a knockdown that was in the second round. Only one knockdown in the second round. That was against Shevchenko in that last fight there. So looking over the numbers again, these two have about 9 rounds of previous fight. They fought the last 9 rounds together. Shevchenko actually winning on the scorecards about I think she's up 5 rounds to 3 in terms of the 8 total rounds there, getting finished in the fourth. And I think that Shevchenko is winning that round until she got choked out as well. So I would even say she would probably be up 6-3 in the 9 rounds that they fought there. So overall here you can see the significant strike percentages hovering around 40% here for Alexa Grasso. Only had 1 round where she landed 66% of the time. Again, she did get that knockdown in round 2. She landed the 1-2-3. I think it was a combination of landing it, Shevchenko off balance, not trying to take anything away from Grasso. She did knock her down, so she was credited by that. But again, I thought that Shevchenko was winning that round up until the knockdown, but because there was a knockdown, Grasso immediately wins that round. And again, I thought that Shevchenko was winning round 4 until she got choked out, but we'll get into that breakdown shortly. Let me just go over these numbers here. In the two fights that we watched, Grasso, she did land a couple of leg kicks here. You can see that she went 3 of 9 in round one, 2 of 3, 1 of 3, and not a ton of leg kicks. It was anytime they were southpaw versus southpaw, Grasso would go outside low kick, or sorry, inside low kick when the orthodox to a southpaw, Grasso would go outside low kick. So not a huge leg kick, not a ton of damage from the leg kicks, but she was throwing the leg kicks there. Grasso was actually throwing a lot of strikes in the clinch and when she was taken down onto the ground, but we'll get into the grappling shortly as well. Overall, though, Alexa Grasso, yeah, landing distant, mostly distant strikes there. Did land some strikes in the clinch there, around 217 of 17 in the clinch. Not a ton of ground strikes, only one landed there over the 9 rounds there. So, let's go over to the defensive striking. Overall defensive striking for Grasso, 84% of the strikes absorbed going to be at a distance, 10% going to be in the clinch, and 6% going to be on the ground. In terms of defensive striking targets, 84% of the strikes landed at a head. 11% towards the body and only 5% towards the legs. Head strike defense pretty average at 35%, 69% towards the body and 77% to the legs. Striking absorbed by rounds pretty similar to her outputs. Absorbs 21, 17, 18, 22, and 24. The output seems to go up as the rounds go up a little bit there. So on average, looks like she's about landing 20 to mid low 20s and absorbing probably around low 20s there as well. In the 9 rounds against Shevchenko hovering about yeah, mid 50s in terms of significant strikes landed or significant strike accuracy there. Shevchenko not really going to the legs too much there, so decent leg strike accuracy for Shevchenko, but she just didn't throw a ton of them there. And I guess those numbers will flip around when we get to the Shevchenko side here. Going over to Shevchenko, offensive striking again. This is over her UFC career. 70% of her strikes landed going to be at a distance, 9% in the clinch, and 20% strikes landed on the ground. She is a big ground fighter there. She can get the fight down to the ground. She likes that mounted crucifix there. In terms of target breakdown, 76% of the strikes landed towards the head, 10% towards the body, and 14% towards the leg. Offensive striking accuracy pretty good at 45% head strike accuracy, 67% body strike accuracy, and 81% leg strike accuracy. In terms of the output, a little bit lower than Grasso here in terms of 14 strikes landed in rounds 1, 2, 15 in rounds number 3, and then spikes up to 22 to 19. So Grasso definitely on average lands a little bit more strikes per round there. Volume's sort of been somewhat of Shevchenko's kryptonite, not a huge volume striker, more of a counter striker than anything there. Over her UFC career, does have one UFC knockdown. That was, I think, early in her career. Let's go back. Yeah, that was Jessica Eye. She had a head kick there. So only the one knockdown from head kick in her UFC career. Otherwise, she pretty good striking overall. Red defensive striking. So Shevchenko defensive striking, 74% of the strikes landed going to be at a distance, 19% in the clinch, 7% on the ground. Target breakdown, pretty diverse, 62% towards the head, 17 towards the legs, and 21% towards the legs. Sorry, 17 towards the body. Head strike defense, actually pretty good at 22% head strike defense, 59 towards the body, and 63% towards the legs. So very hard to hit Valentina Shevchenko. You can see here average strikes absorbed by round. On average, only absorbs 10 strikes in round 1, 9 strikes in round 2, 8 strikes in round 3, and then pops up to 13 in rounds 4 and 5. Again, over her UFC career, really only got knocked down once, and that was against Grasso in that last fight there in round number 2. Otherwise, only one knockdown against, and again, one knockdown for as well. Not a huge leg. Alexa Grasso went to the legs there as well. So pretty even on the feet. I thought that in the fight there, but we'll get to the breakdown there. I want to go over to the grappling report, and for me, it was the difference maker in the first two fights was the grappling of Shevchenko. Pretty good grappling there. We're going to start with Alexa Grasso. Offensive grappling, she can mix it in. She did look for the takedowns there, but it's not really part of the game plan to try to get Shevchenko down. She ended up getting Shevchenko down once in over those 9 rounds. That was in round 4 in that last fight. 37 seconds of control time based on that there. So she did have 2 sub attempts, obviously round 4 in that first fight, and round 5 again when she took the back, she had 2 rear naked choke sub attempts for Grasso. Overall, in her UFC career, not really that efficient. She only averages zero point 0.3 takedowns attempted in round one, down to zero point 0.1 in round two and zero point 0.3 in round three. So again, not a huge grappler there. 11 UFC takedown attempts, 5 of them have been successful. The more important part is this defensive grappling here for Alexa Grasso. You can see Valentina Shevchenko has attempted a takedown in every single round that they fought. Some of those rounds having more than one attempt. She's landed each a takedown in each of the last 4 rounds there. So in total, she has 8 takedowns in 9 rounds fought against Alexa Grasso in her UFC career. 61 takedowns attempted, 25 of them have been successful there. So definitely part of the game plan for Shevchenko to get the fight down to the ground. She did have 80 seconds of control round one, 183 seconds of control in round two, 196 in round three, and 58 seconds in round number four on those submission attempts. And then rounds two and three in the first fight, 182 and 142 seconds. So Valentina Shevchenko, very good at top control there. Looked like Grasso was going to get out of some of those positions there, but Shevchenko able to keep that position. Going over to the offensive grappling, here's the difference here. Shevchenko. Oh, sorry, those takedowns were Grasso's takedown defense there. So yeah, Shevchenko offensive grappling here. She averages 1.5 takedown attempts in round number one. It's successful in 1.1. 1.3 in round number two, successful on 0.9. So on average, she's about averaging 1 takedown per round in the first 3 rounds there. We did talk about the success in the takedowns. Again, Shevchenko landing 8 takedowns over the 9 rounds. Did have one sub attempt in round number three. Did not get that there. So and then defensive grappling we talked about there. So those are the high level stats there. Overall, on paper, I think Valentina Shevchenko has the better striking defense. Grasso has the better output, but in terms of striking defense, very hard to hit Shevchenko overall in terms of head strikes. And the main difference is the offensive grappling. So we watched those first 2 fights. We watched the 9 rounds in total. Here's why I think the fight's going to go. So I thought that Shevchenko was winning both fights up until she wasn't, right? In that first fight, again, Shevchenko was up 2 rounds to one going into that fourth round. I thought that she was winning the fourth round there. She did this spinning wheel kick where Alexa Grasso was in a little bit close. She ended up giving up her back, and then Alexa Grasso just very quickly jumping on the backpack, sinking in the rear naked choke, and finding that submission. I thought that Valentina Shevchenko was cruising her way to a victory there, and then she ended up losing that just because she spun around too many times. So they ended up rematching about 6 months later, and the same thing happened in the second fight where Valentina Shevchenko was winning the stand-up battle. I thought that she was landing more jabs. Grasso was landing a couple of 1-2s, but I thought overall that Grasso was struggling with the distance management, really struggling to land clean off Shevchenko. She did get a knockdown in round number two. But again, I thought that Shevchenko won round number one, and was winning round number two until she got knocked down. You have to give that round to Grasso. Was winning round number three, was winning round number four, and then round number five gave up her back. Mike Bell ended up giving them a 10-8, which ended up giving them the draw. If he doesn't get that 10-8, actually Shevchenko should have won that fight by decision. As again, she was up 3 rounds to one going into the fifth round there. So overall, based on the tape study of the last 9 rounds, Shevchenko's the better fighter. She's landing the jab at will. She's landing the 1-2. She's a little bit faster on the feet, and the big difference maker is the grappling there. Shevchenko's really able to level change, get under the 1-2 of Grasso, get the fight down to the ground. And then we've seen Alexa Grasso, when she does get taken down, her only get-ups are really, she's putting the feet on the hips, trying to push the opponent away, using butterfly guard to sort of elevate. But as soon as Shevchenko can pass the knees, get into full guard, then Alexa Grasso just goes full guard. She closes the guard on the bottom, and she's controlling the posture, controlling the neck, really trying to limit the damage. The referee actually standing them up in the first fight, but just because she stalled out long enough, the referee thought that there was enough time to stand them up. So depending on the referee, I think that Shevchenko can use these takedowns. I do think that she can control the grappling, control a lot of top control. She's not doing a ton of damage. She did get the mounted crucifix briefly against Alexa Grasso in that first fight, landing some big shots there, but Alexa Grasso eventually getting out of that. Just for me, it comes down to the takedown defense and the offensive grappling. On the feet, again, I think that it's fairly close. I do give a small edge to Shevchenko. I think that she has a longer, stiffer jab that she's been able to land. She's landing the kicks to the body. Anytime Shevchenko staying southpaw, Anytime Grasso goes orthodox, she's landing these left kicks to the body, which really doing a lot of damage, but then she's sort of tailing off and not throwing them. I'd love to see Shevchenko keep towards damaging the body. She has a nice teep kick to the front. She has a nice body kick there. She just sort of tails off and doesn't throw it into the later rounds there. But that's the sort of key to success. I think she wins the stand-up. Grasso was really struggling with the distance, landing the 1-2s. Grasso was sort of reliant on the big moments, the big jumping on the back or the big knockdowns, really to secure those rounds. Otherwise, on the feet for the majority of the minutes, I would say that Valentina Shevchenko was better on the feet, and she does have a lot of the grappling upside. Where when Grasso does load up on the 1-2. Shevchenko able to level change, get the double leg, and get the takedown. And then we saw, Shevchenko on the back, Grasso trying to turn into her. Valentina Shevchenko doing a very good job of controlling her, keeping that back control there, not letting Grasso get the position back there. So it's going to be, I think Valentina Shevchenko is going to control many minutes of this fight. And then Grasso's going to need a lot of big moments like she has had in the past, knockdowns, taking rear naked chokes, taking the backs, things like that. I just think more often than not, Valentina was going to win more minutes. I think the fight probably goes to decision more often than not as well. But on paper, Valentina seems to be the better fighter. On tape, Valentina seems to be the better fighter. I'm a little bit biased because I had Valentina in the first two fights, and Valentina here is a slight underdog. I think she's the better fighter. So give me Valentina to win by decision. That's my prediction in the fight. Again, the props aren't out yet, so I will keep an eye on those props when they do come out, see where the value lies. So I pulled up my handy dandy bankroll tracker here. Here's my workbook. What I like to do is I like to go through all of the possible outcomes in the fight, assign a percentage to them there. Then it tells me where the line should be. I use 8 Kelly criterion to determine how much of my bankroll I should be betting on each side to determine our best bet. So starting with Alexa Grasso to win by TKO. I think it's possible, but I don't think it's very likely. I know she landed the knockdown. That was the only time that Shevchenko was actually knocked down there. I think she was a little bit off of balance there. So Shevchenko historically has been pretty durable. I'm going to give it 5% chance of winning by TKO. Maybe 10%, but I think it's up to 5% there. And Les Grasso to win by submission here as well. Um, it really is only that back take. I know that she was throwing up some legs there. I'm gonna leave it at 5% as well. I don't think it's that high. Alexa Grasso obviously winning that first fight by submission, but that was more opportunistic, getting the back there. I guess you could go up to 10%. That's fine. Let's go to 10% submission. I don't think it's that high, but we'll leave it for now. Alexa Grasso to win by decision. What does the Alexa Grasso decision look like? It has to be standing. It has to be a majority of the fight spent winning big moments, maybe multiple knockdowns, maybe a lot of control, maybe 1-2, things like that. So I don't think it happens too much because you're banking on Grasso to win a lot of uh, moments in the fight. So let's put 20% for now, and then see if we can reassess there. Valentina win by TKO. I don't think it's likely either. Again, Valentina Shevchenko has that one knockdown by head kick. Otherwise, if the TKO comes, it could be from mounted crucifix. It's just not likely that she gets there. She did get that position in the first fight, but she wasn't able to finish it. So same sort of thing there. I'm going to go 5% there as well. I think if you give Grasso 5%, you're going to give Shevchenko 5%. It could go up to 10% both sides, but we'll reassess. Shevchenko to win by submission. Not likely either. It probably comes from rear naked choke, some sort of positional TKO there. But we saw that as soon as Valentina Shevchenko got to full mount, Grasso was first thing to do was roll over, give up her back. So the submission probably possible there. So I mean, if I give Grasso 10% sub, I'm going to have to give Shevchenko sub 10% as well because I think she's going to have the majority of the top time. And the Grasso really has to be opportunistic to get the back, so I'm okay with leaving it at 10% each there. Valentina Shevchenko to win by decision. I think this is the most likely outcome there. I think it's at least 40%. Where's the yeah, okay. So let me go up to 45%. Okay, and then we're off by 5% here. So 35% so far, 60% there. I need another 5% to give. Maybe a Grasso by decision. Okay. All right, that sounds about right there. I'll read it out. Either you tell me if it sounds completely off, but Alexa Grasso to win by TKO 5% plus 1900 or better. Alexa Grasso to win by submission 10% plus 900 or better. And Alexa Grasso to win by decision 25% plus 300 or better. For a total money line of 40% plus 150 or better. On the Shevchenko side, I have Shevchenko to win by TKO at 5% plus 1900 or better. Shevchenko to win by submission 10% plus 900 or better, and Shevchenko to win by decision 45% or plus 122 or better. Total money line of 60% or minus 150 there. So I'm leaning the Shevchenko side. Obviously, I did have her in that second fight. I thought that she should have won that fight there. I have not looked at the current odds there. I know that it was pretty close to even the last time I checked. Let me pull up what the odds look like here. Going over to UFC 306. Prop bets aren't out yet, but looks like Grasso minus 125, minus 120-ish. They'll come back on Shevchenko plus 102, 105. So minus 125, 105 I'm going to use for the example. See where the value lies. So current lines for Grasso minus 125. Current odds for Shevchenko plus 105 there. So I spit it into the formula there. Again, I think that Shevchenko should be around minus 150. We're getting plus 105 there. Eighth Kelly criterion telling us to bet 2.7 units on Valentina Shevchenko. That's probably where I'll end up there. Haven't made a play yet. Maybe wait for some prop bets to open up there. But I do think that the Shevchenko side should be the side. I think she's the better fighter. I think she has all the grappling upside. I think that she wins more minutes. I think Alexa Grasso going to need something big to win this fight, and I think Valentina regains her belt there. It has been about a year since the last time they fought, so Alexa Grasso probably having more improvements during that time off. Shevchenko a little bit older, so wouldn't surprise me to see Alexa Grasso come out a little bit better than we've seen her in the past. But again, from what I've seen on tape, Shevchenko seems to be the side. So give me Shevchenko to win by decision. That's my official prediction. If you like the type of content or if you disagree, let me know in the comments below why and what you know. If you know anything, help me out. Give me more information. All the best there. So as always, if I do make any plays, I'll post them over to patreon.com/FightingStats. That's where I put all of our official bets, our breakdowns, our shoot for the moon parlays, all of that stuff. So check that out. You don't want to miss it. My name is Art C, and this is Fighting Stats. Thanks for watching. All right, guys. Well, that is it for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this type of content, make sure you smash the like button, hit the subscribe. You'll get notified anytime we put out new content. Listen to this. We just hit a massive parlay for $29,000 at UFC 297. That is one UFC after 296 where we hit a parlay for $82,000. That's back-to-back parlays. We've made $110,000. And how do we do it? We use our exclusive fighting stats, not available anywhere else. Our exclusive fighting stats gives us information, gives us a big edge over the sportsbooks and tell us what's going to happen within the fights. We post all that information, our breakdowns, our best bets over at patreon.com/fightingstats. Don't miss out. Make sure you subscribe today. Again, my name is Art C. This is Fighting Stats. Thanks for watching.